to read one more from Happiest Days. This is my favorite story that I've ever written, actually. I tell you that so that you appreciate it maybe more than I deserve you to. Because now you feel guilty because you know how much I love it. This is called Blue Light Special. If someone asked you what toy defined your childhood, what would you say? My kids would say Game Boy if you asked Brian, and Micro Machines if you asked Nolan. My younger brother would say a Nintendo Entertainment System. My sister would probably say Cabbage Patch Kids. My dad would say baseball cards. My answer comes without a moment's thought or second guessing. Star Wars figures. They were affordable. They were easily obtainable at Kmart. And they allowed me to create my 9-year-old version of fan fiction, reenacting scenes from my most bestest movie ever, or making up some of my own. My core cast was Han Solo in the cloth and regular outfits. Luke Skywalker, the X-Wing fighter and the Bespin version. Greedo, the shoot second, goddammit. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the I lost the plastic robe and broke the tip off the lightsaber version. Princess Leia, the pre-slave girl, man, I wish I could hit that. C-3PO, the tarnished version. And R2-D2, the head stopped clicking a long time ago. They spent a lot of time fighting on Tatooine, the torn cardboard backdrop version. Flying around while crammed into a TIE fighter, the one wing really wants to fall off version. Or rolling around the kitchen floor, my land spedder. Captain Hands of MOL's version. Yeah, I loved my Star Wars figures, and I took them everywhere with me. I never owned one of those cool official carrying cases that looked like C-3PO or anything, but they traveled with me in a Vans shoebox that could double as a rebel base whenever the need arose. Last night, Nolan and I ate dinner at Islands. Right after we put our order in, I saw a kid sitting in a booth at the end of our aisle, playing with Star Wars figures on his table. It was like looking through a wormhole into 1981, seeing myself in Bob's Big Boy with my parents. The kid was 8 or 9 years old, with a mop of shaggy long hair that was probably cut by his mom with the coupon scissors in a chair in the kitchen. He wore a dirty blue Hot Wheels t-shirt, maroon nylon shorts, and Velcro tennis shoes. On the seat next to him, there was an open shoebox. His Star Wars figures were lined up on the table in front of him, and he was making 2 of them fight. I fell into the wormhole and landed at the Sunland Kmart in 1981. It was back to school season for my brother and me, and we were there to buy clothes and school supplies. My parents never let us really feel how poor and white trash we actually were back then, so I didn't know that shopping at Kmart, getting an icy and a pretzel, was a real luxury for us. Like all kids, I just took it for granted that we got to have new clothes and treats because, well, they were there, you know? After we piled our corduroy pants and collared shirts and trapper keepers and economy packs of pencils and wide ruled paper in our cart, Mom took our 3-year-old sister with her to the makeup department to get shampoo, whatever moms buy in the makeup department. My brother and I were allowed to go to a toy department. Can I spend my allowance? I asked. If that's what you want to do, my mom said. Another in a long string of unsuccessful passive-aggressive attempts to encourage me to save my money. It was a concept that was entirely alien to me at 9 years old. Keep an eye on Jeremy, she said, and don't run in the aisles. Okay, I said. As long as Jeremy stood right at my side and didn't bother me while I shopped, and as long as he didn't want to look at anything of his own, wouldn't be a problem. I held my brother's hand as we walked carefully for about 3 steps, and then started running across the store, past a flashing blue light special to the toy department. Once there, we dodged past the bicycles and ignored the shelves of board games until we got to the best aisle in the world, the one with the Star Wars figures. sky. Every one of them had a bright orange price tag cut into a jagged sunburst marked $1.99. The smell of slightly burnt popcorn, kind of like the smell in the Rainbow Theater, where I'd go on countless 8th grade not really, but we called them that anyway dates in 1984, hung heavy in the air. I stood there, experiencing what Douglas Coupland would eventually describe as optional paralysis, pondering one of the most difficult and important decisions I would ever make. Which Star Wars figure should I get? They didn't have the Chewbacca that I really wanted, actually needed, to fill a gaping hole in my cast of characters. They had lots of droids, but I already had the only 2 that actually mattered. They had some cool snowtroopers, but they could only fight against Han Solo in his Hoth outfit. And I didn't even have a Hoth playset. This made a lot of sense to me. They had IG-88. He was kind of cool and had an awesome gun. But it was only in one scene in The Empire Strikes Back, and it didn't even talk. I stood at the wall of toys and wished, as I always did, that I could just get them all and sort them out at home while my jealous friends watched.
I know exactly what he's
My
talking
brother
about.
said, "Come on, Will, I want to go look at Legos." "In a minute," I said. I flipped through the ones that I could reach, hoping that maybe Chewbacca was in the back, behind one of the lame figures up front. That's how I found Luke Skywalker in the Bespin outfit, which had this really cool lightsaber that you could take out of his hand and lose in the backyard the first time you played it. "Come on, Will," my brother said, tugging on my hand. "Quit it! This is important." Lando Calrissian. God, he was a dick in the movie. There's no way I'm getting him. That bald guy with the headphone thing? What is this, the Bespin Cloud City store? "Will," my brother whined. Just then, my mom came around the corner. "Willow, look what I found for you." She held up a package of Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot Legos. Oh, cool. Thanks. "And I have Batman for you, Chair Bear," she said to my brother. "Wow, I'm Batman. Thanks." "So did you find anything?" my mom asked, and then pointedly added, "Or are you saving this week?" "Mom, I want to look at Legos," Jeremy said. "Okay, Jer, I'll take it." She started down the aisle and she added, "You need to be ready to go when I come back, Will." Left alone in the aisle, I could finally focus. Make an informed decision. Suddenly, as if they had materialized out of thin air, I saw several vehicles and playsets. Playsets were well beyond my budget, squarely in the realm of birthday gifts from relatives. Death Star playset among them silently mocked me with glance. However, the sunburst stickers on the vehicles were much more reasonable. I did some math in my head. If I saved, I could have my own Millennium Falcon in just a couple of months. If I could convince my mom and dad to let me do extra chores around the house, or if I got like a commercial or something, I could even get it sooner. Oh, wow, the Millennium Falcon. It was so big, it took 2 hands to fly it. My friend Daryl and me watched as he put his together, and it had 2 sheets of stickers. He couldn't even find where to put them all. It had this place where you could hide your figures, and you could recreate that cool chess game and Luke's fight with that training droid thingy with the flash shield down. I can't see how I'm supposed to fight. Could I do it? Could I save my allowance until I had enough to buy it? What if I didn't have it when I was all saved up, though? Then what would I do? My mom would make me put my money in the bank. I just knew that I'd never see it again. It would just sit there and do something stupid called earning interest. My brother came running down the aisle, nearly losing his ever-present blue baseball cap in the process. Will, look, I got an airplane. He held up one of those balsa wood planes that always broke on the second flight, provided you didn't break them during assembly. Oh no, I thought, Mom's going to be right behind him. I could hear my sister fussing in the cart as it turned the corner and squeaked up behind me. What did you decide, Will? My mom said. Amy's getting fussy and we need to leave. I hadn't had nearly enough time to make my mind. This was all a plot by my mom to trick me into saving my money. I had to stop, so I pretended I didn't hear it. Oh, that's neat, I said to my brother. So what does that do? It's a plane, dolt. It flies. Will, my mom said, a bit of an edge in her voice. This has got a propeller, and that means that it can fly for a long time, my brother said. Oh, interesting, I said, my eyes darting from the vehicles to the figures to the playsets and back. That's very cool. A stream of numbers and calendar pages flew through my head, accompanied by John Williams' famous theme. Will, I'm going to count to 10, and then we're leaving, my mom said. Oh no, she was counting. This was serious. 3, 4, 5. 3? What happened to 1 and 2? 8, 9. Oh, why couldn't I just make a decision? All the figures suck. This should be easy. There's so many of them right here. How can I walk out of the toy department without buying something? Jeremy has an airplane. 10. What are you doing? As if commanded by some unseen puppet master, my hand shot out and grabbed the nearest figure from the rack. I'm getting this one, I said. This one is awesome. Ha! Take that, Mom! Nobody's going to trick me into responsibly saving my money. Okay, put it in the cart and let's go. I looked down at the package in my hands and I saw my triumphant purchase. Lando Calrissian. In my head, I thought of the worst curse word I could muster the courage to think. Wait, Mom, I said. What? She stood there, hand on her hip, patience wearing thin. My brother flew his airplane, which in the package didn't look anything like an airplane at all, around in little circles. My sister's fussiness was turning to tears. This was my last chance to back out, admit defeat, tell my mom that I was saving my money. I took a deep breath and I said, my sister scowled and began to cry. What, Will? The urge to walk out of the store with something in my hand and some stupid sense of victory overwhelmed more rational thoughts of saving my money for something I really wanted. I want to carry it myself. Because it's awesome. Okay, that's fine. Let's just go, she said. Thought of looking back wistfully over my shoulder at the Millennium Falcon. But I was so ashamed of myself, I was convinced that if I did, I would be turned into a pillar of carbonite. Instead, I trailed behind my airplane zooming brother and nap-eating sister, while my mother pushed the cart up to the checkout. Will? Said a voice that did not belong in Kmart in 1981. I blinked. The sounds of my infant sister crying were replaced with the killers, and the smell of burnt popcorn was replaced with the smell of fryer. Okay, no one asked. Yeah, I said. Where did you go just now? It's a rather mature concept for a 15-year-old, but I vanish into memory so frequently, he knows it when he sees it. I told him about the kid over his shoulder with all the Star Wars figures lined up on the table. It was like looking at myself. About 25 years ago, I said, as John Williams scored, began haunting triumphant refrains in my head. He turned around and back. You had Jar Jar Binks 25 years ago? I looked at the line of figures. Han Solo, Chewbacca, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader. Way down on the end. Jar Jar Binks. A needle scratched across the end.